Hi everybody. I just wanted to get on here today and talk a little bit about what it is like being a writer. I get a lot of questions about different things about that, but mainly just people don't know what it's like to sit down and write books every day. So I am going to talk a little bit about that. I wrote a blog post about it, and I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs out of that, and I will link that in the description box below. So I'm just going to read that real quick. You think about people, places, and times. Every day you think about how saying something this way or that way will come across to people you've never met. You wonder about what it looks like for someone to be frustrated or overjoyed. Not only how it looks, what combination of actions, words, and punctuation will make a complete stranger who is reading that sentence feel a tiny part of that emotion in themselves. Sometimes I write while taking a walk or enjoying a plate of warm cookies. That's what it's like to be a writer. It's everything. Entire lives take place within the pages of novels, and the writer lived through every moment described. So that is one aspect of it. When we're writing something, more editing, I feel like we're really thinking about how each word and everything will come across, will get the message across to readers. But then also I get a lot of questions about like how I come up with my stories, or where does that come from? People can't imagine. I can't imagine either. It's not, for me, for every writer it's different, but for me it's not something where I sit down and I make an outline and a plan about everything my characters are going to do, where they're going to go, what the concepts that the story is going to include. When I was in high school, I remember reading a lot of times in just school books, they would be talking and analyzing literature, and they would say things like, oh, and the writer did this here, and they made this concept, and this was a little hidden thing in there, and the story was meaning to get this across. And that's, for some writers, that might be the way it is, but any writer that I've talked to, for myself, we don't think about what exactly we don't think that much into every single little thing. We don't say, oh, this is referencing this in another work of literature, or in this is referencing this idea in life. We're just writing a story. For me, I think about the characters first. The characters are always first. When I start a book, that is what it starts with. It starts with this concept of this person that isn't necessarily based off of anyone that I know, or anything that I'm really trying to specifically talk about. I'm just thinking of this person. This person comes into my head, comes into my mind, and I think about who they are. I think about where they are and where they're going. I don't think of the end of the story. The end of the story isn't ever in my mind when I begin. But I do think of where they're going with their life, where their thoughts are taking them, which I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry, my chair is so squeaky. But being a writer, it's just, I feel like it's a lot like other creative jobs. Everyone does it differently, and that's why everyone's creative work is so unique. Every artist's painting is so unique. Every book is unique because they have experiences. The writer has experiences, that no one else has. But then also, everyone has, because we're all, people, we all have a lot of similar experiences, but we all experience them in a different way. So I think that is really neat in writing and in stories. When I'm reading books, I love seeing how sometimes if I look at the writer's background of their own lives, then that even helps me see like, oh, in this book, maybe this idea in this book was coming from this this idea in their lives that they grew up in, maybe this culture or this time period. So I think that's really cool. Being a writer is just, sometimes it's a lot of hard work. Right now I am editing, and that's a lot of fun too. I enjoy it, but it is a lot of work, and with a deadline, it's everyone has deadlines in their jobs, and so do writers. But it's also so much fun. I love that I am able to do this right now. Like I said, you get to spend time thinking about ideas. You get to spend time thinking about people, whether you're thinking about people who have lived, are living, people that you just made up in your own mind. I think it keeps you aware of others also. You observe people and you pay attention to the people around you, your friends and your family. And I love how everything in life, your experiences, the people around you, everything can be used in your writing to make it more in-depth and more interesting. I'll see y'all later.